What if your thoughts were quietly sabotaging your ability to conceive? In this episode, we're diving into the science and soul of fertility, how stress, emotions, and your subconscious mind directly affect your hormones, ovulation, and womb space. Additionally, I'll be teaching you simple NLP tools to rewire your inner dialogue, release fear, and align your body for a healthy pregnancy. If you feel like you've been doing everything right and still not conceiving, this might be the missing piece. Welcome back to Fertile Frequencies Radio, where we talk about the integration of science and energy for your fertility journey and your self-discovery journey. And today I am so excited to bring a very special episode to you. In fact, every episode is special, but this one is very dear to my heart because I know how much it impacts our entire journey, but definitely your fertility journeys, as well as your hormones and your manifestation. And every part of your life is deeply impacted by the subconscious mind. And we are going to be talking about the subconscious mind and something that is called Neuro-Linguistic Programming, which is NLP for short. And really, what that is it's tapping into the subconscious mind and really figuring out how to rewire it. And how this is really powerful for your fertility journey is that your hormones are so affected by what your mind is saying. And we have the scientific proof. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And I do talk about that on probably pretty much every episode. I do talk about the power of energy and really the mind and how that does affect your fertility and your hormone levels. We are going to touch on that today. I'm going to talk more about hormones. But getting into NLP, if you are somebody that is struggling, which chances are, if you're listening to this podcast, want you to know that even if you feel like you're doing everything physically right, have we thought about really how our mind is impacting our fertility journey? And I touched on that a little bit about your hormones, and we're going to talk more about that and how that really is impacting your fertility. And I never want to ever give any sort of indication that this is about shame or guilt and that this is not a diagnosis. I'm not a fan of the word infertility, but I'll say it for on this podcast. You will hear me say it, but just letting you know, I don't believe that most situations that you truly are infertile. I believe that it's just a restructuring of figuring out really what it is that you need on your particular journey to be able to have the success that you deserve to have and are looking to have. So we have to remember that it's more, like I stated, more about a restructuring. So I prefer to say fertility obstacles or challenges because those are temporary. We're figuring out what really needs to happen for you to be able to have the success that, like I stated, that you absolutely deserve. And this episode's really going to really help you out with that because you might feel as though you're hitting a wall or you've experienced loss. This conversation that we're going to have today is really going to offer you hope and transformation. And as I stated, we're going to be talking about neuro-linguistic programming is rewiring those subconscious beliefs, releasing trauma, and really aligning your energy with your deepest desire to become a parent. And whether this is you're navigating IVF, you are having timed intercourse like IUI, or you're doing the natural conception, this episode is going to swift your mindset and connection with your inner fertile power. And I always state this, I have to drive this home, your self-discovery journey. Because remembering that your fertility journey is giving you so much more than just the baby. I know the baby is the ultimate goal, but your fertility journey is actually awakening you. And I'm not going to get into this too much, but as a spirit baby medium, it often is discussed with me in spirit baby communication that there's something missing within the energetic field of the parents. And it could be either parent, it could be both, or partners, or there's all kinds of different fertility situations, I guess. We're not to go too much into depth of all of them because we can think of a lot of different ways that babies come into this world. It can often be in relation to something that I think of as essentially some sort of soul contract that you wanted to be in a particular place in your journey before your baby actually comes into your experience. And they also want you to be in that particular place in your journey before they transition into the physical world. Remembering that your spirit baby is also on their own journey of really what they want for their human experience as well. It's not always about what you're looking for, what your partner is looking for. So we have to not blame ourselves that sometimes these situations, in fact, it could be oftentimes that it's not even anything that you're doing. You're never doing anything wrong. It's more about accepting about how things are just lining up to be able to bring this beautiful energy into your experience and trusting and surrendering in that. So I definitely want to state that, probably going to state that on every episode you're going to listen to because I want you to know that you do not need to feel guilty about this. You're not doing anything wrong. It's just figuring out the pieces, whether that's with your own journey or your spirit baby, figuring out the clarity that you need to be able to have the success. It is a awakening and it's painful and it hurts. And it's a letdown every month when you don't get the positive pregnancy test, or if you do get a pregnancy and it doesn't end up being viable. I mean, this is really hard stuff to go through. So I absolutely want to hold space for you now. I want you to hold space for yourself. Really acknowledge that you're doing the best that you can. And absolutely, this is always a safe place. This is about healing energy and empowerment. And today, and learning about these actionable tools that you can actually use for NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming, to be able to support your healthy conception. And I am here supporting you in that. And absolutely, also working with me one on one is very, very helpful, and that you can absolutely apply for that and see if we are a good fit for your fertility journey. And I would love to be a part of that for you. As I stated, we're going through the transformational yet straightforward NLP techniques, neuro linguistic programming. I am a certified neuro linguistic programming technique. And so what that means is that I went through training to be able to offer you these therapies, as well as for those that have never listened to my podcast before, I also am a natural reproductive medicine expert and a spirit baby medium. I had a near death experience in 2017, which reawakened me to my abilities to read intuitive energies that I remember having as a child. And the spirit baby started coming to me at that time. So I do a lot. I help the people that come into my experience that I'm meant to help bring their babies home to them. And also, I understand the physical part of the body as well. I'm a licensed health provider. So I've went through a lot of training and licensing to be able to do what I do. So you're getting great advice and direction when you work with me. And just to state for this podcast, I am not your medical provider. This is purely educational purposes. But if you would like to be a client of mine, you can definitely apply for that. So when we talk about releasing subconscious fears and really restoring the emotional balance to reconnect with the power of the creator that you are, the fertile creator that you are, both literally and energetically, I want you to remember that your fertility is not just physical. You're going to hear me say that so much because that's probably my most popular tagline that I use is that your fertility is beyond just the physical. It's a deeply emotional, mental, and spiritual journey. And fertility, and just the overall whole of what it is, it's about creation. And it's more than just creating babies. And we'll talk a little bit about that today. I do have other episodes talking about the womb and what the womb really is. And it is a place for babies, but it also does more than that. So we won't get into that too much in this episode today, but you can go back to some of those episodes. So today we are going to begin to heal at the level where real change is really going to begin, and that's going to be in the mind. And I never, ever, ever want you to think that your fertility is because of your mind, that it's all in your mind, that kind of stuff. That absolutely is not what this is about. This is about taking your power back and really learning about your body and learning about your overall journey and how to really be in control of your emotions and your energy and how your body is responding to this. And so it's not about you thinking that this is just all in your mind and that's why you have fertility obstacles. So please, please, please don't think that at all ever, because that is not what this is about. It is very real that you are experiencing fertility obstacles and losses and frustration and emotional roller coaster. It is very, very, very real. I am here to give you tools and how to learn how to navigate these energies to have the success that you're looking for. So that is what this is about. So let's talk about NLP and how it really matters for your fertility journey. Well, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, as I stated, is NLP for short, and it is a set of powerful tools that help you understand and rewire how your mind works, especially your subconscious mind, which holds your deepest beliefs, fears, and emotional patterns. Now, talking a little bit about what neuro linguistic programming stands for, yes, it stands in short for NLP, but what exactly does that mean? Well, neuro is the nervous system. That probably makes sense to you. Neuro sounds like nervous system, neurological. And then we have linguistics, which is a communication and your body language. And then we have programming, which is the programming that we have in our subconscious mind and how those outcomes are playing out. So remember that your programming is the outcome. So we're working to work with your nervous system. Pay attention to how this is communicating. And when I work with clients, I'm paying attention to what they're saying, but also the body language that they have, because that helps me to understand what's going on a subconscious level and things that they may not even be aware of. So we can really start to peel those layers back, remembering that 90% of your thoughts are coming from the unconscious mind, which is the subconscious layer. There is deeper parts of the mind that are considered unconscious as well. But for this, we're talking about the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind is where 90% of those thoughts are residing. And so our nervous system is responding to that. And through somatics, we know that the body remembers. And so this is through the nervous system. And so we have to rewire that nervous system. And when you rewire the nervous system, it's actually called neuroplasticity. And so we can see that on brain scans. We can see how people are rewiring their brains through technology. You can watch it happening, and it's happening through affirmations, through meditation, through mindfulness practices, mind body connection. And does it happen overnight? Some people it might. Some people may have very deep trauma and it takes a long time. I have to say that it can take a long time to really trust. So I don't want you to beat yourself up in thinking that you're behind or why can't I just figure this out? It takes a long time to trust. And why? Because we've spent a lifetime, by the time we get into our 30s and 40s, even 50s, it takes a lifetime a long time to break down these barriers of what we've been building up and what we've been programmed to believe. And so these programs are creating this outcome, and our mind is telling the body what to do. So essentially, what does that mean? That means that whatever your mind is running a program of, your body is listening. So if you're running a program of thinking that you're not going to be able to get pregnant, or you don't trust your body, then your body is going to listen to that and say, oh, okay, so this is not an environment for pregnancy. Okay, let me just go ahead and make your FSH go up. Let me create some egg quality issues. For the guys, it could be, let me make it so that we don't have great sperm and they're not making to the egg. There are energetic barriers here. And we are seeing through scientific studies how the mind is affecting fertility and hormones. You could talk to your reproductive endocrinologist, and many of them now are actually agreeing that stress has a huge impact on how the hormones are functioning. We see it. I see it all the time where someone will, for example, have very high FSH, and then they do some mind body work with me for 3-4 months, and the FSH begins to normalize. And FSH, when it gets elevated, it can really affect the egg quality, and it's very affected by stress levels. So first question I generally will ask, well, what was going on in your life at this time, before, if I'm looking at somebody's lab reports that they maybe had done a few months ago, or, I like to look as even a year back from when we start working together, and looking at that is a question, what was going on in your life at that time if the FSH is very high? And generally it will be, oh, well, I was finishing school, or I had a lot of family stuff going on, or my dad passed away. And so we have to understand that the hormones are so affected, and remembering that your brain is inside of your body. Well, your reproductive system, which is the endocrine system, it starts in the brain, and then it's communicating to the reproductive organs what to do. Okay. So we have to really, really start to embody and know that our minds have power over how our body is functioning. And that's a huge message of mine for anyone listening to the podcast. A one-on-one client that I work with, is that it's empowering you to know that when you shift and change and rewire this programming that's in your mind, your body is responding to that. And you're tapping into the infinite abundance that you already are, that you've never not been. It's just that you forgot. You were listening to patterning. So that's what NLP is, and talking a little bit more about how the subconscious mind is like your operating system that's running the show behind the scenes. And when you've experienced trauma like miscarriage, fertility challenges, or even the monthly heartbreak of a negative pregnancy test. And that's so hard. Or the 2-week wait when you're going through IVF, or even natural conception or IUI, and you find out that you're not pregnant. It's devastating. And your subconscious mind will start running patterns like, I'm broken. My body can't do this. It's never going to happen. And these are valid. It's understandable why you would think this. But we're going to shift and change this because it's absolutely not true. Okay. The problem is that your body is responding to those beliefs as if they're true. Okay. Whatever you're telling yourself is true, because we create our reality, and it's understanding what needs to change and be tweaked so that we're creating the reality that we want, including homeostasis in our bodies, like in our fertility and hormones. So stress hormones are going to rise when you're under stress, and this tension is building, and the trust in your body is fading. But NLP is going to give you the tools to gently interrupt these patterns and rewire this inner story, one that says, I trust my body. Okay, now why are the subconscious beliefs influencing your hormone stress levels and reproductive function? Well, here is some strong points for you. Stress and unresolved emotional trauma can inhibit ovulation, lower progesterone. So if you're having that mid-cycle spotting, probably chances are you've got some progesterone issues. Suppress your LH surge, alter genetic expression, and create a biological environment that's less receptive to conception. Remembering what I stated, that the body is always listening to what the mind is telling it. The mind is the control operation. The subconscious mind is the controller. Now, why? Because the subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is imaginary and what is real. So, if we're constantly telling ourselves, remembering that 90% of those thoughts are coming from the unconscious level, that you're not even aware of them, this is where mindfulness and awareness are very powerful. And I work with my clients on this to help you define this. And again, this is not only helping you to conceive the baby, bring the baby into the world, and expand your family, but it's improving your relationships, because it's improving the relationship with yourself. It's giving you the opportunity to fully be embodied in your power and who you are, and feel great physically, energetically, emotionally, all of the above. Okay. So the mind is very powerful, but the good news is that healing your mind through these tools we're going to talk about today, NLP, visualization, breath work, and emotional release, which I'm not going to talk about those. I'm going to talk about emotional release, but I'm not going to talk about visualization, breath work, or also I do hypnotherapy, which works hand in hand with NLP. In my technique, I use hypnotherapy, but we are not going to talk about that today. But this changes the chemistry of your body to support this life. So, here we're going to talk a little bit about some mind body connection and how that is really affecting the emotions and the epigenetics. Chronic stress is impacting the epigenetic expression and how your genes function without changing the DNA itself. And this means that long-term emotional patterns can affect how your reproductive system is functioning, which is influencing factors such as egg quality, implantation. Emotional healing and mindset shifts can help turn on genes that support fertility and the epigenetics and overall hormonal balance. Very powerful stuff. So, how does miscarriage and loss leave an energetic imprint in your fertility journey? Well, trauma from previous loss can create subconscious mind blocks. Now, why do I say this? Because it could be that you are absolutely terrified that it's going to happen again. So understandable. But sometimes these pregnancies are planted like seeds. And what I really mean by that is, yes, is a pregnancy a seed? Well, yes, an embryo is essentially a seed implanting itself in the uterus. But what I mean more than anything is more of an energetic component here. And it could be that I'm going to get into a couple of things here too. But the energetic side, it could be that I've seen people get pregnant and they actually got pregnant quicker than they thought. And then they had a miscarriage. And it made them realize that I really do want to have a baby. So it helped them to define that. There could be that. The next thing could be that maybe you thought you were ready and there was still some things that you were working on within your own trauma or energy. Maybe you were working a lot at your job and you had a boss that was really draining, and then you had a miscarriage and a loss, and it helped you to decide that you don't want to be in an environment like that. And so you quit your job and then you got pregnant after. And these are really scary things. I know it's scary to think about quitting your job, but just giving you an example that this is not just about fertility. This is a self-discovery journey of remembering that your journey is about awakening to who you truly are and the infinite creator and abundance and light that you are. And we can easily forget that through programming, through the subconscious mind programming, which the subconscious mind really is formed at about the age of 7. It's starting in the last trimester to about the age of 7. And really what that means is that after about 7, you've got your programming. And so you forget that you're this infinite creator. And some of these situations that come into our life, like pregnancy loss, are these seeds that are planted to help align us with our truest purpose. And some of that is for someone that, like yourself, that's listening to this, that wants to be a parent. And there are things within your energetic field that need to happen before you actually manifest that into your reality, because that's how you want it, or that's how your baby wants it, or you co-create with them to be able to have the experience that you really wanted to have in your lifetime. So that's what I really mean about planting seeds. But also on a physical level, if we're looking at the body itself, as I've seen women that will have miscarriage and it kind of cleans out the uterus, like there might have been things in there that could have created complications for a pregnancy, and it's the natural progression of the uterus to be able to rebalance itself to sustain a healthy pregnancy. So that's one physical topic that I wanted to talk about. We got some energetic and we got some physical, and that's what I'm all about. Integrating the science and the physical part of you, the proof of what we have in front of us, with the energetic, which is the unseen part that we can't always prove. So, and also the mind, which is very scientific, but can also be very energetic in a way that we don't always have an answer for that either. But we know that it's there and just don't always have the reason why it's there. So, other beliefs that might be around loss could be my body can't do this, I'm broken, it's too late, which is absolutely not true. They're programmed patterns that you picked up somewhere along the way, which to be completely transparent, in my professional experience, I've seen most cases where fertility journeys that have been long and very emotionally difficult and frustrating, that it's actually rooted for something that was beyond even before starting to get pregnant. It's just that, or starting to try to get pregnant, it's just that your fertility journey awakened some sort of disconnect within your energetic field. And we think it's about the fertility, but it's not. So, really, essentially, what could be an example of this? It could actually be around something like abandonment. And it could be that you've been abandoning yourself for many, many years, and your fertility journey is helping you to see that abandoning yourself is no longer an option. It's showing up for yourself. It's believing in yourself. It's believing in your body. It's knowing that you can do it. And so this loss could be something of that nature. Now, again, I don't know because I'm not reading your energy. And again, this is just for information, but giving you an example of situations that I've seen and understanding how the subconscious mind works, because that's where we lodge these programming beliefs that just keep recreating a loop. And even having success in the pregnancy and the baby coming into the world, that if you don't resolve things that need to be resolved in your lifetime, that they'll just come and show up in another way. So I know that, and that's why it is so deeply rooted in the work that I do to not only get you to get the goal of having the baby, but also help you to be able to be in the best version of yourself so that these patterns are not repeating in other ways. Like you actually understand and have the awareness that it was there, we heal it, and you move on, and you're able to respond to your environment versus having reactions. And it's very empowering and freeing to live your life that way. It's a whole different ball game that many people unfortunately are not experiencing because they don't know how to heal their trauma and their limiting beliefs and things that they've gone through in their life outside of fertility as well. Um, and it creates an awful lot of problems for them, essentially, where they are not empowered. They feel that the exterior world is in control of their abundance and how their life is going to play out. And that's very unfortunate because everything begins within you. It's not outside of you. But you're listening to this podcast because you're very interested and curious. Maybe you are on the other side of it and you don't quite understand it, or maybe you're seasoned in this. It doesn't really matter. If you're curious about it, then that's a step in the direction of your evolving that you're asking for, which is really powerful. So essentially what I'm saying is that, but also that you're listening to this because you're most likely not a person that is interested in continuing to repeat loops, or you wouldn't be listening to this. You wouldn't be curious about it. So when I guide you through identifying a belief of that I can't get pregnant, I use lots of techniques, but today we're going to talk about a few of my favorites. Number one is reframing those limiting beliefs. This is really easy that you can actually do on your own. And if we're talking about I can't get pregnant, what we really would replace that with is you would have the awareness to hear yourself saying that to yourself. Awareness is number one. If you don't have the awareness, the affirmations are not going to work. Okay. I will say that a lot too. Affirmations are not going to work if we don't actually believe in them. And I'm not really saying, I guess I should say this in the right order. We don't actually have the awareness of when we need to use the affirmation. And B, if we don't actually believe them, they're just not going to work. I see that where people journal and journal and journal, they're doing affirmations, they're meditating, but yet they go right back to their old belief system. Okay. You're not going to change anything. It's great that you're doing it, but what we're really getting into is the A-type personality of trying to be the overachiever, but we're really not changing anything. So you have to absolutely believe in it, and you have to be willing to have the awareness to make the change. So having that awareness, if you're having that self-talk, I can't get pregnant, and it could happen when you get the negative pregnancy test. And we're going to flip that around and we're going to say, I want you to absolutely feel the grief there. Okay. So I don't want you to push your emotions down and act like, oh, I just need to be positive. I mean, that's absolute BS to be thinking you need to be positive all the time. So that's not what this is about either. It's about allowing yourself to feel your emotions. Very, very powerful. Please do that. I highly, highly encourage that. I disencourage you not from feeling your emotions. Okay. So feel the emotion of if you get that negative pregnancy test, allow yourself to grieve that, but then pick yourself up whenever you feel it's time to pick yourself up. There's no time limit on this. There's no rule. Just pick yourself up when it feels like, okay, I got to change this. And I want you to reframe it with, I trust my body to receive and nurture life. And I'm also going to add, I want you to talk to your ovaries and your uterus, and I want you to talk to them as if they're your besties or your child, and how much you love them and you appreciate them, and talk to them like how you would be nurturing a child or your best friend, somebody that you really adore and care about. And this helps your body to hear the beautiful nurturing energy that you're giving to it, and it wants to be fertile. So please, please, please use these techniques. They're very powerful. And number two is anchoring. And really what this is doing is it's creating a calm and confident safety connection. A big part of the subconscious mind is safety, because most of these limiting beliefs that we have are around fear. Okay. So we want to find a way to help us to overcome those fears, to feel that we are safe. And as you know, with anxiety, that anxiety is all about not feeling safe. Okay. Like hypervigilance. When is the next shoe going to drop? Or, when I was robbed at gunpoint, there was a lot of, a lot to get over with PTSD about when is the next, the attack going to happen. So this is based on memory. We have to work through these situations that we go through. So anchoring is really powerful to be able to create this safety feeling. And I'm just going to do a short, quick little thing with you, is I want you to think about a time that you felt really strong, relaxed, powerful, and safe. And I want you to get that picture in your mind. Okay. So just go ahead and close your eyes, get that picture in your mind. And then I want you to think of an anchor. Okay. Like, a lot of times I have people use a knuckle on their hand, and you can choose whatever knuckle you want, and you can take one of your fingers, whatever finger, could be your index finger, your pinky, your middle finger. It could be any finger that you want. It doesn't matter. It could be your thumb. And you're going to think of that feeling, and then you're going to put your finger on the knuckle that you chose. Okay. And then you're going to let all that energy light up in your solar plexus and your heart. Your solar plexus is just above your navel. That is also, we can include the womb space, the sacral chakra. That is going to all be kind of like that torso sort of area for you. Let all that light up as if you've got those wonderful butterflies. You feel really excited. You've got that warm feeling of when you felt relaxed and powerful and calm and strong and safe. Okay. And so then you're going to let that keep your finger on your knuckle for at least a minute. Okay. I'm not going to stop the whole podcast to do this. So I want you to either save this episode, please save this episode, or if you're writing it down, you can write it down and you can do it later. And so you're holding it there for at least a minute. And then what you're doing is you're going to lift your finger off the knuckle. Okay. And so when you put your finger back down on the knuckle, you're going to feel the anchor. That's called an anchor. And that is where you're getting that strong, powerful, safety, glittery, glowing feeling. And you're going to use this in places like going to doctor's visits, before your embryo transfer, during ovulation, or other similar occasions like the 2-week wait. Okay. And this is going to help you to be able to anchor into a time that you felt safe. And that's going to give you the ability to totally get rid of that anxiety. Okay. And you're going to use this. Once you have this tool, you can use it throughout your entire life. You can use it in any experience, before a job interview, a speaking event. I'm a business mentor, so I work with a lot of people in speaking, as well as working with clients for the first time. Whatever it is, imposter syndrome, you can use this anchor to be able to bring yourself back to a place of safety. Okay. And this is very, very powerful stuff, and it's easy. And this is a neuro-linguistic programming technique that helps you to tap into the connection that your mind has with your body. Okay. Neuro-linguistic programming, neuro-linguistic communication, also body language, feeling, programming is about the programming that you're programming your body and mind, the connection. Okay. So again, very powerful stuff. And the third technique is future pacing for fertility. I really love this. This is a lot of visualizations about your future pregnancy. There's also something else that I use, which is called time techniques. That all of this is about time techniques, are more about establishing a timeline of your past, present, and future. But for this future pacing, and we use future pacing in time techniques, but it's essentially visualizing your future pregnancy, holding your baby, feeling that joy and ease. So it's putting you in the manifestation before it actually shows up. Another common recommendation I make to clients is getting yourself a rose quartz crystal, putting it in your future baby's bedroom and going in there and meditating, maybe even buying some furniture, some clothes. I know that might feel kind of awkward at first to do that, but it's putting yourself in the manifestation before it actually shows up. And it's how you manifest. It's powerful when the universe knows that you're already in alignment with it. It's telling you that you're already in alignment with it without being attached to the outcome. The outcome, what I mean, of course you're getting the baby. The outcome of when and how, and trying to dictate to the universe and your spirit baby and your body of how this is going to happen. You just surrendering and trusting that it is happening because it's meant for you, okay? So future pace. We want to use embodied affirmations like my womb is a sacred space for life, and each cycle is bringing me closer, okay? And help you to feel that it's already happening, like I stated, because your body is responding to the belief that you have in it. So I want to give you a reminder. I like to sum up the end of the episode with a little reminder of encouragement. And again, I want to remind you, beautiful, you are not broken. You're just becoming into this amazing fertile energy that you are. And it's beyond just your fertility as a mom. You are becoming fertile in all aspects of your life. You already are fertile, but more fertile, blooming, growing, evolving. Okay. You are not broken. You are evolving into a higher version of yourself, and your fertility is not broken. We're just restructuring what needs to happen for you. And your subconscious mind is always listening. So let's speak beautiful life into your body. Let's speak fertility into your body. Let's encourage your body to know that we believe in your body. Okay. And also, you can do daily repetitions of beliefs and anchors and visualizations and stuff that we talked about to be able to put yourself in alignment with knowing that this is happening for you, regulating your central nervous system, future pacing in that future version of you through visualizations of knowing that you are worthy of this and this is meant for you. And the affirmation, I talked about it earlier, but I'm going to say it again. I want you to repeat. I am safe to receive. I am open to life, and I am ready. And I'm so proud of you for listening to this episode. On a second side note, I'm so proud of you for taking the time to listen to this episode and tune in how you can help your body to be able to align with your mind and your subconscious mind, and that you're empowering yourself and that you're open to that. And that you know that this is a self-discovery journey and it's beyond just manifesting your baby, because the journey that you've embarked on has not been easy and you're growing like crazy. And I absolutely love that for you. So if you enjoyed this episode, definitely share it with someone who needs it. And don't forget to like, follow, and give us a review. We definitely love the love and bringing you more wonderful episodes to empower not only your fertility, but also your overall journey. And until next time, stay empowered, definitely stay centered in your fertility, and remember that this is happening for you because if it wasn't meant for you, you wouldn't desire it.